Hello, 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 everybody. How are you? Welcome, welcome. I'm glad to see everybody coming on. Let's see who's here. Hello, Debbie. Hi, Fern. Hi, Esther. Hi, Margie. Hi, Ava. Hi, who's there? Barbara. I see Barbara. Hi, Randy. Hi, Carol. Hi, Claudia. Hi, Rona. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Anid. Hi, Mary Beth. Hey, Nicole. Hi, Susan. Hi, Marcia. Hi, Laurie. Welcome, welcome. It's great to see all of you. I will, hi, Sadell. How you doing? So let me tell you what we are going to be doing tonight. I know you see you have lots of ingredients. We had a super heavy tote bag. Everybody was schlepping out today. So thank you all for walking in because it was kind of getting cumbersome to move them all out. So thank you everyone for coming in and getting it. So I'll tell you what we're going to do, and then we will get started. So we have quite a large recipe today that we're going to be making. I'll let you know what you'll need right now so you can organize yourselves a little bit. You are going to need 4 of the eggs for now, 2 of the sticks of margarine, 6 of the cups of flour. This is more than that. This is probably approximately 8. So you'll need a measuring cup for that. You'll need your sugar. You'll need your baking powder, and you'll need your vanilla and a pinch of salt, which we didn't include. So make sure you have that handy because we're going to need that as well. Okay. So we're going to start off with making the dough. The other things that you have here, like this, is all for the toppings. It's all optional, and we'll talk about that soon. And the brownie mix is if you would like to do a brownie filling, because that's obviously delicious. So that's what that is for. So that we're going to kind of put on the side for now. Can you move away, please? Okay. Okay, so that's that. I'd like to start, first of all, by thanking our committee members for planning another awesome event. And I want to say a special thank you to everybody who was there today helping to pack up the bags. We had Esther and Barbara and Sadell and Barbara and Randy and Marion, and Randy was there later with, helping with all the distribution and the deliveries. So thank you all for bringing that together. And this recipe that we're using tonight is Randy Grossman's mother's recipe. So it's really special in her merit of her neshama, her soul. All of us ladies are gathered together in our own homes, making this Hamentasch in honor of Purim. And that's a beautiful tribute to her neshama, to her soul. So what we are going to, we're going to start with is a little Torah thought as usual. And tonight is actually really special. And the reason why tonight is special is because tonight is Rosh Chodesh Adar. Tonight is the 30th day of the month of Shvat. And starting tonight is the beginning of Rosh Chodesh. It's a 2-day Rosh Chodesh this month. So the 30th, tonight and tomorrow, as well as the first of the month of Adar is Rosh Chodesh. So every Rosh Chodesh is special, and specifically for women. And the reason why that is because during the time that the Jews spend, what? Yeah. So during the time that the Jewish people spend in the desert, there were a few, really major events that happened that the Jewish people kind of messed up. And that's what the most specific one is the sin of the golden calf. And women did not participate in the golden calf. It was only a sin that the men participated in. And the reason why they didn't participate is because they had faith in Hashem, and they were not disillusioned by the fact that Moshe had not yet returned, and they maintained their faith in Hashem. And as a appreciation of the woman, God gave the woman the mini holiday of Rosh Chodesh. So every single month, Rosh Chodesh is meant to be a special day for women, a day when they kind of take a break from housework and things like that and focus on their connection to other women and their connection to Hashem. So it's very appropriate that we're gathering tonight on Rosh Chodesh. But even more so is the fact that tonight is Rosh Chodesh Adar, the Hebrew month of Adar. And the month, what it tells us in the Talmud is Misha Nichnas Adar, when the Hebrew month of Adar begins, Marbin Besimcha, we should increase in joy. And Adar is spoken about many times as being a joyous month, a happy month. And the obvious reason is because that's the month that the Purim miracle and the Purim story happened in. The Jewish people were saved from Haman and Ahasuerus and the evil plan, and all of that. So, we have that beautiful holiday. It also tells us that Adar was the last month that the Jewish people spent in Egypt, because of course the next month, the month of Nisan, right, the Passover story, they were already free. So the month of Adar was the very last month that the Jewish people spent as slaves in Egypt. It also tells us that the month of Adar, in the Zohar explains that every single month has a certain mazel. It has a certain energy, and that energy is usually represented by a certain image or picture. And the mazal of the month of Adar is the mazal of dagim, which is fish. And fish are very, very, they have very, many fish at the same time. They're very prosperous in their, in their breeding. And fish, therefore, is looked at as a very positive mazal, a very good energy. And it's an energy of goodness and an energy of prosperity. And in fact, it tells us that if a person, for whatever reason, has some kind of court case or something that they have to see to, they should try to have it in the month of Adar, because there's a special energy, a special positive, joyous, beneficial, fruitious energy in the month of Adar. So it's a good month. It's a happy month. It's a good energy month. And God willing, we should see and experience that good energy in our month. But going back to what the Talmud tells us about Misha Nichnas Adar, when the month of Adar comes in, that we should increase in joy, we have to talk a little bit about how we should do that. Because if a person is experiencing, good times and happy occasions, then that's not difficult. But if a person is experiencing difficult times and challenging occasions, and just, this past month, Fern Baum, that joins our club all the time, just lost her sister, and we, offer our condolences to her for that. So if a person's experiencing really, really negative times or challenging times or things that are not really going the way that they want, then being joyful is really, really hard, and it's really, really difficult. And how is a person, or what is a person meant to do in such circumstances, in such situations? So there's actually a niggin, a Hasidic melody. And the niggin, the words of the niggin are, and they're originally composed in a very challenging time. I'm not going to go into all the details, but it was a challenging time for the Hasidim of that time. And the niggin that was composed were to these Yiddish words. And the Yiddish words are, Der Rebbe hat geheißen Freilach sein. Freilach sein, Freilach soll man sein. The Rebbe had requested that we should be joyous. We should be joyous, and joyous we should be. And it was a challenging time, it was a difficult time, and the Hasidim would sing this melody, and they would, cheer themselves up with this melody. But of course, there's always deeper meaning. And really, the difference is in the difference between happiness and joy. Happiness is really a feeling. And a person, and feelings can be very difficult to change. Emotions can be very, very difficult to change. But joy is much more connected with an action and with something we can do. So even though we may not be feeling happy, even though we may not be feeling happy emotions inside of us, we can nonetheless choose to act joyful and choose to do things that are joyful. And one of them, and one of the very powerful, joyful things that we can do is actually giving to another person. Even when we may be in a situation of really hurting or really not in a good place, nonetheless, acting joyful and putting on a happy face and doing something for another person who is hurting, who is alone, that can actually, really, really change then our feelings inside and change our disposition and help us feel a lot more positive and a lot more upbeat about what we're doing. So because of that, and because it's Purim coming up, and because this year Purim, it will be different than other years. The parties will be less probably rambunctious and all of that. Just on that note, we, God willing, are planning for our outdoor Purim party, which is taking place at 5 o'clock on Friday in 2 weeks from tomorrow, February 25th or 26th. And you can go online, you can choose your seats. Dinner will be individually plated. So we will be absolutely having a Purim party, but in the spirit of COVID, with all the safety precautions in place, the energy may be a little bit different, right? So what we did is, in the past, we've actually made this exact recipe before, but when we did it I think it was a quarter actually of this recipe, and that made about 18 Hamentasch. This time we decided that we're going to make the entire recipe, which actually makes between 6 to 7 dozen Hamentasch. So this is quite a large, nice recipe. And the reason why we did this is because we want you to make the Hamentasch and then take these nice little pastry bags, pack them up, and find some friends that you can share the Purim joy with this Purim. And that you can bring that joy, even if you may not be feeling so joyful on your own, you can bring that joy of Purim to somebody else. And through doing that, both of you will have an uplift in their spirits and an uplift in their feelings. So that's what these bags are for, and that's why we're making such a large recipe. And I'll tell you what to do. If you don't want to make it all tonight, we'll go into all of that, as we get going. But this is just a beautiful way that we can be joyful and be extra upbeat and extra happy this month. And actually, if you can do that on Purim itself, one of the mitzvot of Purim is to give mishloach manot, is to give gifts of food to a friend. And so if you take your Hamentasch and you give it, to one friend, and you throw, it's actually meant to be 2 different types of food. So if you throw in, a little, seltzer or something with your Hamentasch, then that's actually fulfilling the mitzvot of Purim. So make the Hamentasch, stick them in your freezer right before Purim, which is in 2 weeks from tomorrow. Take them out, pack them in a little bag, write some nice messages, and include a seltzer bottle or some other type of food, and give them to 2 different friends. And there you go. You have your mitzvot of Purim done. On that note as well, we will be having a Purim experience pick-me-up on Friday of Purim. In honor of Purim, we'll be having little boxes with graggers and Hamentasch and all the different things to celebrate Purim, ready for you to come and pick up. And God willing, we'll have an email going out with all of those details in just a little bit. So without further ado, we'll get going into the recipe itself. Once again, as you said, this is Randy Grossman's mom's recipe. So very special merit for her neshama, for her soul. So what you want to start with is creaming your margarine or butter. We're including margarine because it's pareve, and your sugar, which is right here. Okay, so that's what we're going to start with. I left mine out, so it's really nice and soft. If you didn't leave yours out, I would first start with cutting it into squares, so it'll be a little bit easier to work with. Mushka, do you mind getting me some water, please? So, by the way, this, if you haven't seen this company yet, it's called Country Crock, and it's a fairly new product on the market. It's meant to be like a healthier margarine alternative, but it's very, very tasty. Healthier butter alternative. Very, very tasty. It really, I've used it other times. I've actually heard about it first from a food blogger whose cookbook I have. and heard really good things about it. So that's that. So I know a lot of recipes. Is there garbage there? So a lot of their, oil recipes, and then there are butter or margarine recipes. The main difference is that when using a butter or margarine recipe, the dough is usually ready to use right away. As opposed to using a oil recipe, I'm just going to scrape this off, as opposed to using an oil recipe where you probably would have to let the dough sit in the fridge for a little bit before it would be manageable enough to use. So hence the benefits of using this great recipe, just squeezing out some of the last little bit that's there. Okay, just gonna take a little water. Okay, so next we have our quarter of a cup of sugar. So actually, before I continue, I'm just gonna say, as I mentioned, it makes 6 to 7 dozen Hamentaschen. So that's a lot, quite a nice amount of Hamentaschen. So if you feel like you're not gonna be able to shape all of your Hamentaschen tonight, you have a few different options. Number one, to begin with, you can choose to make half the recipe. And if you did that, you would use only 1 stick of margarine. You would use half the amount of sugar, only 2 eggs, because the 1 egg, there's 5 eggs in here. 4 is for the Hamentaschen recipe, and 1 is actually for the brownie mix. So you would choose to use 2 eggs, and the vanilla, you can do all of it. Still a pinch of salt, and only half of the baking, half of the baking powder. So if you want to do it that way, do it that way. The other option is that you could freeze this dough. Randy experimented with it. It freezes beautifully. So you can also freeze the dough, and I can show you how to do that at the end. Okay, so I have my margarine, and I'm pouring my sugar in right over here, and I'm going to cream them together. Really nice and soft, combining beautifully, and together really, really nicely. Okay, so there we have it. That's all nice and creamed. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients except for the flour. So I'm going to add the flour last. So next I'm going to put in my vanilla right over here. And I'm going to crack. You want to spotlight? I don't know why it's not spotlighting.
No, because they're unmuted. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so what we're gonna do now, I'm just gonna mute everybody, and I'm gonna stop in between for questions because I think we're getting some interference. So let's do that. Okay, and we'll stop after I put in all the ingredients and we're starting to mix. I'll stop at that point for questions. Okay, so the next thing is my eggs. Again, you have 5 eggs in here. 1 is for the brownie mix. So you just want 4 eggs in your recipe. And you're also gonna need a little bit of salt. So if you don't have salt, you can go get that now. Which one do we get the salt? So we have 1 egg, pouring that in. Next we have 2 eggs, just checking it back and forth, making sure there's no blood spots. And 3 eggs. And here we go, egg number 4 right here. Thanks again to all the ladies that spent this afternoon packing up your eggs and all of the other ingredients that you have there. And also special thank you to Randy Levin for going around and shopping for the preserves and for going to all the different dollar stores to get the 2-pound bags of flour and all of that. Okay, so next I'm doing just a little smidgen of salt, just a teeny bit. And next is going to go in my baking powder. And give it another little mix. mixing it in stages like this is not critical, but it just helps the recipe come together a little more smoothly. You could also make this in an electric mixer, and if you did, you would be using the dough blade. That would be the correct blade to use because, of course, we're trying to get a dough, so that would be the right thing to use. Okay, so next comes the flour. Now, this is a 2-pound bag of flour. There are approximately 4 cups, 3 to 4 cups of flour per pound. So we definitely have enough flour in here, but we do not need the whole bag. So we're going to measure out 6 cups. Okay. I do see some.
They're asking you to stare.
Okay, the butter is not, the butter is parve. It is a plant-based butter. It is totally parve. Okay, that was a little too much. But, I'll just do it in here. I'll level it out there. Okay, so we have 1. I'm going to level it in here so we have even cups going on. So again, this is a parve recipe. It is a type of margarine, but it is, I don't know, made out of olive oil, and some of them were made out of almonds. So it's just a healthier option. It's very tasty. The kids really like it. It actually comes in tubs also. And that's easy to spread on bread or whatever. Okay, so I did 3 cups and I'm gonna mix. Again, you don't have to, you could just dump it all in, but I find it easier. We're not using an electric, mixer. So it's just easier on the hands when you mix things in stages. Okay, and we see how beautifully it's coming together, nice and smooth, really a wonderful, wonderful dough. Okay, so that's 3 cups. And we're gonna go ahead and add the remaining 3. So 1 and 2. Let's level that. 2 and last 1. 3. Just the right amount of flour, just a little extra. We'll have to, put on our surface when we're rolling and all that. Okay, so I'm going to start off by mixing, and a little bit we're going to get in there by hand and we're going to knead it. That's the fun part, getting all dirty, right? Okay, so at this point I'm going to take this away and I'm going to get in there with my hands. And I'm just gonna keep on kneading it. You could, if you don't have room in your bowl, you can just turn this out onto your counter and do this on your counter. Of course, it'll be a little bit messier, but it will work just fine. It feels really nice and smooth. It's still flaky because I still have more kneading to do. But it's really coming together nicely. Really beautiful, beautiful feeling dough. So smooth. The margarine, the plant butter, whatever the official title for it today, I don't know, but it really is beautiful to work with. So smooth, so easy. And that's that. I'm gonna need a little bit more now that it's a nicely coming together. I'm just going to spend another few minutes kneading it. Really beautiful. Okay, look at that. Feels wonderful. Perfect amount of flour, oil, eggs, beautiful, beautiful dough. So I know that I don't want to make all of my 6 or 7 dozen tonight. So I'm going to divide it into parts, okay? Because that would be the best way to freeze it. So I'm going to take out a knife. Okay, so let's just, estimate that it's, that it's 6 dozen, although really it's going to be more. So I'm going to decide to divide it into 3 parts. So I'm just going to take my knife and just cut it into 3 equal parts. If you want to divide it in smaller, that's fine too. And a nice, easy way to freeze it is in making it in a disc shape, just like this, because it'll be easy, it's easy to freeze and it's easy to unfreeze, right? Kind of looks like a slab of cheese. Easy to freeze and easy to defrost. And I'm gonna wrap this in some saran wrap, in some plastic, and then I'm gonna put it in a Ziploc and just put it away in the freezer for another time. I'll probably do it with the kids on Sunday. They'll really like that. And that's going to be that. So I'm going to put these, just I'll put them on the side for now. Okay, so now I have the one section that I want to be working with now. But before we get into that, we have to talk about our fillings, right? Because that's the next part, our fillings. So we're going to start off with our brownie mix. Since we're dirty already, let me just dump this out, please. Since we're dirty already, we're just going to, yeah, there's fine. Since we're dirty already, we're just going to get started with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to make this a little bit differently than the package instructions. We're just going to put 1 egg, a 1/4 cup oil and quarter of a cup water and a 1/2 cup of oil. If you have some of the packages, there's actually 2 different varieties. Some people have chewy fudge brownies and some people have, I think, dark chocolate fudge. So I'm actually just noticing that if you look in the back, there are 2 different options of how you can make your brownies, right? I'm sure a lot of you have done this already, but you can either make them fudgy or you can make them cake-like. So for the filling, we want it to be a fudgy brownie, not a cake-like brownie. We want more of that rich chocolatey feeling to it. So we're going to do it according to the fudgy brownie instructions. But reading my box of the chewy fudge, I see that for the chewy fudge, it calls for 2 eggs. Now the other box only calls for 1 egg. So hence you only have 1 egg left in your container. So if you are making this, and yours says the chewy fudge, then grab a 2nd egg from your fridge so you can make it the fudge like. But I actually remembered that I promised I was going to stop for questions. So I'm going to do that. I just saw a comment from Debbie saying to add a Moretto, a 1/4 cup of Kahlua or Moretto to the brownies, and it will be delicious. I can imagine that would absolutely be really, really good. Okay, so if you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask your question now. No questions. Okay. If you have a question, you can unmute yourself and ask it now, or you can put it in the chat. Otherwise, we will continue. Okay. Oh, Rona wants to ask a question. Rona, you want to ask a question? Rona, were you trying to ask something?
Right. When I mix up a dough like that, it never looks so perfect. Does that mean I need more flour? I mean,
you did this dough? This dough you did?
No, not this exact one, but in general.
Okay, this is a very, very good dough, meaning not all doughs work perfectly. This one really, really does. But it's not, I don't think it needs more flour. I think you may have stopped mixing too soon. Because it doesn't come together right away. You know what I'm saying? Like it needs a couple of minutes of mixing it to come together. Also adding the ingredients slowly and adding the flour half at a time also helps it come together nicely. But also this is a cookie dough. So this dough should be like this, as opposed to like a challah dough, which no, you could not be able to handle your challah dough in your hands, that same way. So different doughs are going to be, have a little bit different, consistency and all that. Okay, so let's move on. Let's go back to the brownies. So I am going to, okay, Debbie's saying that she put it in the stand mixer and added everything together. Yes, if you're doing it in a stand mixer, then it's much stronger. So totally dumping everything in one shot is great. When you're doing it by hand is usually when you have to, not you have to, it's just easier to, to get to that mixture like that. Okay, so we have over here our brownie mixture. Sorry, the other thing you do need to get is oil. We didn't want to start pouring oil and having them spill over the carpet and the tiles and all that. So we figured everyone has oil at home. So you need a half a cup of oil and a quarter of a cup of water. Am I going to get that? What? Half a cup of oil. Yeah. And then you go put a quarter of a cup of oil. You can put a quarter cup, whatchamacallit, after that. Okay. So let me get something to pack this egg into. Well, my little bowl right here. Thank you. And crack that there. That's oil?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really
Thank you. And I'm actually going to need one more egg. They're over there. They're right there. See? Okay, so I have my oil. And again, this is totally optional, meaning if you do not like brownie Hamentasch, then you don't need to do this. You have quite a bit of, available here. We, included a nice amount of fillings for you. We had a lot of multiple shopping trips to the different stores to make sure we got, everyone wanted to give everyone an apricot and either a strawberry or a raspberry. So, so we have plenty of that for you. You don't have to do the brownies. Sorry about that. Okay. So in case some of you are wondering about my voice, so I ran this a quarter of a cup. Yeah. I very randomly got an ear infection this week and it made me lose my voice. So Tuesday, I totally couldn't talk at all, but Baruch Hashem, much better today. And thank God the antibiotics is kicking in. So I'm doing good, thank God. Okay, so here is our first part of our mixture. Now we have the second part. Just a funny story. I actually did a one Shabbos a few weeks ago for dessert for my kids. We did a blind taste test. I made a box of Duncan Hines brownies, and I made a box, not a box, but a tray of, a really awesome brownie recipe, homemade from scratch with chocolate chips and all kind of good stuff in it. And for dessert, I blindfolded, after the meal, I blindfolded all the kids, and they each had to taste a piece of either one, and they each had to decide which one they liked better. And you would be very, I was very surprised to find out that the kids actually unanimously chose the brownie mix better. So next time I'm definitely not bothering making it from scratch for them. Okay, so I want this to stiffen up just a little bit so it's easier to work with. I'm gonna stick this in the freezer for a few minutes till we are ready to use them. Okay, I'm just gonna put this in the freezer, in the garage. Okay, thank you. Okay, and next comes, now we're ready to roll out our dough. So I'm going to put some flour down on my counter and I get ready for my rolling. Now, if you do not have a rolling pin at home, then there are many, many alternatives that you can use that you most likely have in your kitchen. I think that the best one would be a bottle of wine. Obviously, you want to be gentle with it. You don't want to crack it, but a bottle of wine is very, very similar. I'll grab my rolling pin. Is very similar in shape to a rolling pin. So if you don't have a rolling pin at home, I would say to grab grab a bottle of wine. If you don't have a bottle of wine at home, I would say to grab a cylinder shaped glass like this. If you don't have either one of those, I would say to grab some kind of reusable water bottle, you know, like maybe it's one of those, oops, look how dirty I am. Oh, well, my hands are dirty too, so it's just going to get messier. Another option is to grab a reusable water bottle. So I'm sure that there's something you can use. You can also use a can. So one of those options you're sure to have for your hamantaschen. So at this point, you could preheat your oven to 350. And that is the temperature that we're going to need for our hamantaschen. So I have my dough right here. And put that down a little bit. And I'm going to roll it out. Now, the desired consistency that I want is not too thick and not too thin. So I'm going for about a half an inch, I believe, is the officially what is said. And it's just really a beautiful dough. I didn't even flour this too much, and it really is just very, very nice to work with. So I'm going to grab another glass that I'm going to use for my, I'm going to grab another glass that I'm going to use for my shapes. And there we go. Shaping it all around. Mushka, do you want to bring me a pan? Can I preheat the oven, please? Okay, so I'm going to take away the excess. And now I'm going to go in with my filling. So let's talk about the fillings for a moment. I'll just pick that up for a second. So let's talk about the fillings for a moment. So you can use different things in your filling. But you need to make sure that there's jam, there's jelly, there's preserves, there's butters, right? There's apricot butter. I know that Randy Levin is very, loves her apricot butter. And yes, there is differences in the different fillings you can use. You need something that is thick and that is able to withhold the heat of the oven. So some of the, products out there may do one and not the other. For example, there is a Smucker's product called Simply Fruit that is meant to have very high fruit content, not have any corn syrup in it. And we actually experimented with it. Randy made a sample recipe, experimented with it, and it ran out of the, hamantaschen because it wasn't thick enough. So what is preferable is to use a apricot butter or apricot preserve, or again, raspberry, strawberry, whatever you like, but to use a butter or a preserve, those tend to be thicker. Jams are also good. Don't not use jellies because those are not going to work. Now, one of the challenges of making hamantaschen is getting the hamantaschen to stay closed, right? And one of the keys to doing that is not overfilling the hamantaschen. Of course, everybody loves tons of filling in their hamantaschen, or I think everyone loves tons of filling in their hamantaschen. But if you overfill your hamantaschen, it will be very difficult. Whoops, can't get this open. It will be very difficult for your hamantaschen to stay closed. So you just want to do a teaspoon. That's it. That is how much you want to do. And not even a full teaspoon. You want to do a scant teaspoon. I'm going to get a second one so it's easy to push off. Okay, so just a scant teaspoon, not too much. Otherwise, we're going to run into problems. Okay, so as you see, it's very thick. It's thicker than regular jelly. Has nice chunky pieces in there. So it's real stuff. That's just a bunch of chemicals. And here we go. So next, there are different ways to fold your hamantaschen. There's just the basic way of, I'm going to show this much more. Just the basic way of just gathering the sides and making a nice pinch, pinch, pinch on the sides. That's one option. Look at that beautiful hamantasch right there. Or the other option is to do more of a fold. So with that, you take one side, put one flap down, and then fold the other flap on top. And then again, fold the last flap over the remaining two. Obviously it's like a fold and a pinch, but it's more layering the different ones on top of each other rather than just, just pinching them. So again, I'll continue doing them. I'm going to do some and some. Another tip that that is also beneficial is if you stick them in the freezer for a couple minutes before baking them. That is said to also help them stay together a little more. So this one I can already see that I overfilled that one. It's a little too full. Okay, so this one I'll show with the fold. So fold that one, and then that one's going to go fold and fold like that. Okay, so there we go. There we have it. Our first batch of pretty little Hamentaschen. Okay, so I'm going to do some more, and I don't think we're gonna have enough time for. Yeah, maybe we'll stick it in the. Does the oven preheated yet or no?
Mm.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what this is for and what to do with this in the meantime while the oven's preheating. If only I can get all this flour off of me, that would be nice, but it doesn't look like it's going off so easily. Actually, before I do that, let's just stop for a minute and take questions. So right now, if you have a question, go ahead, unmute yourself and ask a question. You want to bring a pen? Sure. Oh, you got it? Okay. Any questions, anyone?
Anna,
Go ahead.
it's Lisa.
Hey, Lisa. How are you?
Hi. Good, thanks. Thank you. It's lovely here.
Good.
Do we put the brownie mix in like if we do the apricot as a filling
Yes.
before we bake it? It bakes raw
Yes.
then.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
Bake it raw. I put it in the freezer so it stiffens. Right now it's a little too runny to work with because you don't want it to kind of ooze all out everywhere. So I'm going to freeze it probably for about 15 minutes or so till it stiffens because now it's still too leaky.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Sure.
Hannah,
Yes,
did you change the amount of water and oil in the brownie mix?
I did not change it, but they're different. Let me see your box.
Mine says a third and a third.
Correct. So yours and my boxes are different. They're different varieties of the brownie mix. Mine was a chewy fudge box and yours a dark chocolate one. See how it's different?
So should I use
So
the
you
third
follow
and the third?
follow the instructions for the fudge brownies.
Okay.
So whatever it says, the fudge brownies.
Okay.
Okay.
Hannah, I was
Yes.
wondering where can we obtain more cookie bags, whatever you're calling them, pastry bags for batches of finished Hamentaschen to deliver?
Oh, so those I ordered on Amazon. I can
Uh-huh.
send you the link if you want. Yeah, I found them on
Okay.
Amazon. I just Googled it. Yeah.
Okay,
Pastry
great.
bag. Yeah.
Could you please do that? Thank you.
Yeah, sure.
You
Any
don't
other
need
questions?
you don't need to grease the pan, do you?
So the pan, I didn't grease it, but I put down, sorry to mention, I put down parchment paper. If you don't have parchment paper, then yes, do give a little spray of Pam. In general, parchment paper is awesome for everything. Any single time I use a cookie, cookie sheet or a pan, I always put parchment paper. When I'm doing vegetables or chicken or everything, it just makes nothing sticks. It makes cleanup amazing. So I highly recommend them. So yes, put something down on the tray.
Anna, are we preheating our oven?
Yes, 350.
Okay.
350. The oven should be on 350.
Doesn't say that in the directions.
Yes, you're right. It doesn't say that in the directions, but I trust you ladies, the smart ladies, to know that. Okay, any other questions?
I do, Hannah.
Go ahead. How are you,
the-
Esther?
I'm good, thank you. I'm doing this for Kathleen because she's busy with the kids.
Okay.
Did you use 1 or 2 eggs for the fudge brownie?
So which box do you have?
Oh gosh, I have to get up and look. I don't know.
Okay, it's okay. You don't have to get up. You're gonna have to get up. I'll tell you that you could use 1 egg. The truth, either box, just use 1 egg, because either way, you don't really want the liquid that the egg brings to it. You want it to be thicker.
Okay,
So
thank you.
either brownie, just use 1 egg, and whatever amount of oil and water it says in your instructions, use it, but you want to make a fudgy brownie, not the cake-like brownie.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So good to see everybody. Okay, any other questions? No. Okay, so we'll move on. Let's talk a little bit about what we're going to do with the toppings. So this is really for after the Hamentaschen are baked and after the Hamentaschen are cooled. Okay, so we're not actually going to demonstrate exactly how to do it tonight, simply because the Hamentaschen are not going to be cooled in time to be able to demonstrate it. Okay, so, but I'm going to show you nonetheless what I'm going to do. I'm going to take a microwave safe bowl. And I'm going to put my chocolate chips inside. Put my chocolate chips inside. And again, only do, how much you want to be doing. You have enough chocolate to dip probably about a dozen or so Hamentaschen, not for all of the Hamentaschen. So you want to put that in the freezer? I mean, in the microwave? The microwave. So we're going to put it in the microwave. The best way to melt chocolate, you all know this from the chocolate bombs, but the best way is to do it on intervals of about 15 seconds. You put it in, give it 15 seconds, take it out, give it a mix, put it back in 15 seconds, take it out, give it a mix until it is fully melted. So when this comes out though, it's going to be kind of a thick chocolate. This texture of this consistency is great for drizzling your Hamentaschen. So if you want to just drizzle chocolate across your Hamentaschen, you want the consistency just as it is. Another option that you can do as well is that you can take your Ziploc bag with once it's empty, put the chocolate, the melted chocolate back in the bag, give a little snip on the edge, and now you have a nice little pastry bag to make the drizzle really nice and even. So if you just want to drizzle, then that would be a good idea. After you drizzle, you could then take your fingers and sprinkle a few drips of sprinkles on, or a few drips of coconut, whichever you prefer, whichever you like, onto those little areas that you have, that obviously it's only going to stick to the places that you drizzled. Mishka, is it preheated, the oven?
Yeah.
Okay, you can put it in. Put that in. So just to clarify, you're only going to drizzle or dip your Hamentaschen, number one, after they've baked, and number two, after they've cooled. Because if you're going to drizzle them or dip them when they're still hot, then the chocolate is not going to harden. So you have to let it cool. It doesn't have to be cold, but it should not be hot to touch or warm to touch when you're going to be dipping them, because then you're going to, kind of defeat the purpose, and the chocolate's just going to ooze. Chocolate's just going to ooze all over. So now, what if you want to dip your Hamentaschen, which is what I'm going to do. That's what I envisioned with, doing with some of them for this recipe. I'm specifically going to do that with my apricot ones. I think apricot and chocolate pair very nicely. So the apricot ones I'm going to do it with. So now I have my chocolate. Now you'll notice that this chocolate is very thick. It is too thick for dipping. Okay. It is too thick for dipping. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little bit of either some kind of oil to it. So either a little bit of oil, a little bit of margarine, a little bit of butter, whatever, just something that is going to, loosen it up. just a little bit. So let's see. I think I have some of that, yes, I do. So this is how, this is another way that plant-based butter comes in these little, in these little tubs like that. And my kids really like it. So I'm going to add just a little bit of this into my chocolate. Okay. And I really mean a little bit. Okay. This is like probably, I don't know, maybe a half a teaspoon, maybe. Yeah, probably half a teaspoon. Okay. And I'm going to mix that in. No, it's ready. It already cooled, so it's not melting anymore. The chocolate already cooled because I was talking too much, so it didn't really mix. Okay, let's put it back for another little bit, Mishka. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more, and Mishka, put it back. Just give it 10 seconds.
It's gonna burn.
Huh?
Is it gonna burn?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Okay, let's
Can I ask a
ready?
question? Can I?
Yes,
okay.
go ahead.
So, are we supposed to be? Are we with the brownie mix that's in the freezer right now?
Yeah. Yes.
Are we supposed to be waiting to fill these with? Okay, because I made some without anything waiting, so I wasn't sure.
Yeah, so the brownie mix that's on the freezer is for you to make some of them with. So some, basically you're going to be filling some of them with each of the fillings. You know what I'm saying? So some of them are going to be doing with apricot. Some of them you're going to be doing with apricot. Some of them you're going to be doing with raspberry, and some of them you're going to be doing with the brownies. Okay.
Thank you.
This chocolate burnt or something. Okay, I'm gonna redo this chocolate because that burnt. Okay, here we go. Let's get a little bit more chocolate. Over there. What was I just going to say? Okay, so as far as the, back to your question, Fern. So if you don't want to use a brownie mix, you don't have to. You have plenty of the apricot and plenty of the raspberry that will be fine. So it's just another option. It's just another variety to add to the combination, make it more interesting. And really there's like an endless amount of varieties and options you could do. I've seen, we did it. I think it was 3 years ago when we did the Hamentasch bake, and we actually did a halva filling, which was really, really delicious. Yes, and we did that simply by taking, that's fine, I'm gonna bring the oil. We did that simply by taking, how did we do that? We did just with sesame paste, with halva, mixed with confectionery sugar. I made a really, really thick paste, and that was delicious. I'm sure you've probably seen online all different. Okay, so I'm now that kind of burnt didn't come together. So now I have my chocolate, and I'm doing like about a half a teaspoon of oil. Okay, Mishka, you can put it back in now. So you could really do endless amount of endless amount of fillings. Debbie's saying you do cheesecake filling. I think there's, you can't go wrong with doing cheesecake and everything, really. Just like chocolate, it's kind of a winner. Another good option is to do a peanut butter filling, and that would be similar to how you would do the halva filling. So that would be peanut butter. You would mix that with some confectionery sugar, and if you wanted the specific amounts, you can most definitely find it all, all of that online to know exactly how to. Exactly the proportions and exactly how much they're going to fill. Another popular one that I've been seeing online is to do a apple pie filling. So, using that and then doing like a little apple, making a little sweet, like streusel crumble on the top. So really like the options are endless, and it's really, endless what you can do. Okay, so now we have our, I need a little more oil. So now we have our whatchamacallit, our chocolate. And
That's the drizzle.
and I need it to be a touch thinner. You want to bring a little more oil? A little thinner, a little more oil. And now there we have it. Okay. So what I would do at this point, if my Hamentaschen were ready and cooled, is I would take the cooled Hamentasch and dip one triangle, one point into the chocolate, not the whole thing, because the contrast of the covered and the uncovered makes it really pretty. So I have a nice, smooth, thin, see, this is a consistency that you need of your chocolate. You want it to be, like pourable kind of. So this way it'll be able to dip easily. Okay, so you would dip it in, hold it up so the chocolate drips off, and then you would either dip or sprinkle. I think sprinkle would probably be a little neater, just sprinkling the sprinkles onto your Hamentasch. Or if you like, if you like the coconut, then go for the coconut. Another option you can do is you can do some cookie crumbs. You can do some crushed, honey roasted peanuts. You can crush up some of those, or any kind of nuts, really. You can do some crushed walnuts. Again, once you dip the chocolates, you have that, you have that softness, and then you could, dip it into something else. Okay, so now let us, I'm going to continue working with my dough. I'm just going to take you want to get the brownie from the freezer? Okay, so I'm continuing with the rest of my dough. And this time I'm going to go for the brownies. Okay, it is still a little loose. Like if we had more time, I would wait a little longer, but I don't want to keep you guys here all night, so I won't. So again, I'm rolling this out about a half an inch. Yeah. Okay. Okay, and I'm going in there just like that. Okay, and now let's get the mixture, the brownie mixture. Okay, so we'll see that it's kind of gooey like that. It's still a little thin to work with. It's going to be a little messy, but that's okay. I'm going to do one at a time, so I'm not going to give it time to run. And I'm pinching the sides. And there we go. That's one. And another option that you could do with this, being that it's kind of sticky, you could even add a little tad of the cocoa, not the cocoa, the shredded coconut here, if you'd like, on the top, just an option. So I'm just going to do a teeny bit on the top, like that. Teeny bit on the top, just like that. So really, you can do whatever you want. There's no rules. You just have fun, just enjoy. It's Purim, right? A joyful holiday. So that is really it. Okay, any other questions? So I'm gonna bring me a towel, pass you the towel. Any other questions? Wait, let me open it up so everyone can ask if they want. Okay, questions. Anyone have any questions?
Is it easy for you to find the prune filling? Because I've always had problems in the past finding prune filling.
No, it's not easy to find. They don't
Yeah.
have any kilos that we know that we've attempted, and I'm not sure if they have it in Boca in the stores there.
Okay, so I thought it was just me. So it's
No.
always been very difficult
Yes,
for me to
it is
find.
difficult to find. Randy told me she did find the apricot in, maybe it was Aroma. I think it was one of the kosher markets in Boca. But no, it's not. It is hard to find.
It's prune. Prune is the hardest one for me always, and
Yeah.
I love prune. So
Yes.
it's the only time of the year that you eat it.
Yeah, exactly. When else do we eat
Other
prune?
than making
Exactly.
simmus. I thank you. That's all I want to know. Where to find it. So she
Yes.
literally went to the kosher market
Yes,
to look
you need
for
to.
it.
Yes, the same with the apricot and the mun filling. If you wanted mun filling, I'm assuming they had it there. Although I did call one and they did it, so it is hard to find. I would say call in advance, and that's your
Okay, thank you.
that's your best bet.
How long do you bake the Hamentasch for?
What? You bake them for approximately 18 minutes. I would set the timer for 15 and check them at 15 and then see afterwards. You want them to be nice and done looking, but not, not browned or not crispy at all. So they don't need much time, just a couple of minutes. One other thing that I'd like to tell with everybody, or not, just remind everyone that number one is regarding the Purim Pick Me Up on Friday of Purim. We also will be having Megillah readings on Thursday night, as well as Friday, both in the morning as well as in the afternoon. We're also going to be having one outdoors in the morning. So lots of options to come here at the Megillah, special mitzvah to do on Purim, to actually hear the story of Purim being read. So be sure to stop by. We'll have all of the times posted on the website. Also, I think an email went out today with all of those details regarding that. Join us for the Purim party, 5 o'clock, outdoors. What we're going to be having is a 2-course dinner. So we'll have the first course, we'll have a strolling magician, there'll be some games, we'll hear the Megillah, and then actually light candles for Shabbat, and then continue the dinner with the second course and Shabbat dinner in one. So it's a really unique Purim. It usually doesn't fall out on a Friday. So it's a little bit different this year, but it will most definitely be fun, most definitely be exciting. So be sure to join us for that. And then coming up next month, God willing, March 21st, we will be having a special gala celebration. And it's going to be, no, not yet. It's going to be commemorating the memory of Ira Rubel and the beautiful dedication of the Aron Kodesh that was dedicated in his memory by his wonderful wife, Sidel, that's here on with us, as well as in memory of Abbott and Carol Cohen, and celebrating the new expansion and renovations that was done. So the way you should expect an invitation coming in the mail in a little bit. The way that we're going to be doing that is the dinner is going to be outside in a very beautiful, elaborate tent. And then the ceremony is going to be, inside with the seats spread apart, and all of that. So the food will be outside, and then the ceremony and the talking will be inside. We're having a concert with Dudu Fisher virtually. So lots of exciting things coming up. And of course, around the corner is Pesach, and we will be having a Pesach Seder outdoors in the shul, socially distanced, and we will also be making available Pesach kits and things like that. So stay tuned for all of that upcoming information. Any other questions before we go for tonight? Well, I don't think anyone, I think everyone's muted. Okay, I'm gonna, my alarm just went, so let me check on mine. Hold on. Pull them out 1 second. Let's pull them out a little bit. Okay, these look like they need another minute. Okay, these look like they need another minute. So that was 15 minutes. But I think that they're going to need another minute or two. Another thing that I'm seeing already, even though they're not fully done, is that the folding method, when you fold over the edges, definitely holds a lot better than simply pinching them. So I'll show you that one more time just so we see that. What I mean when I say the folding method. I'm just going to put it down a second. Okay, so here we have our little circle. I didn't even roll that or anything. I just simply pulled that like that. And what I mean by the folding is that you fold one side and fold over the other side. And then again, you fold over the other side. So this tends to be a little bit stronger than pinching it and should stay closed better than when you simply pinch it. Okay, so just to see how the sides are folded over each other, and the center is much more closed than with other ones. Okay, so whoops, why is it still on that? I don't know. Okay, any other comments or questions before? Let's do gallery view so we see everybody. Oh wow, this is nice. Now we can see everybody. No? Okay. So I'm going to say goodnight, or should we wait another 2 minutes till they're done? Okay. Okay, make sure to post and send me pictures of your Hamentasch. And I want to see what they look like. And I will, when the Hamentasch cool, I will dip them and I will post some pictures of that. So all of you can...
Anna, I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
I just wrapped my 2 portions of dough in plastic and I'm going to put them in a Ziploc bag.
Yes.
How long can it be frozen for?
I don't know an exact time, but I would say a few weeks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's only 2 of us here, so I'm not making a lot of them at any one time.
Right? I know. I hear that.
Okay.
Anyways, thanks again to our awesome committee and to all the ladies that came to pack and distribute today. And a special thank you to Randy Grossman's mother, Allah Shalom. May her soul rest in peace for this wonderful recipe that we're all going to enjoy and share with so many others and spread the joy and spread the festivities of Purim this year. So good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. And I will hope to see you all soon. Take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hannah.
You're welcome. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.